I missed that part. When is the best time to take it?
Good question. So again, with creatine, it's very simple. There is no real specific timing that's required. Now, again, in my research, there is some slight benefit to taking it pre-workout. It's one actually recent article, but again, for me, I'm like, take it when it's most convenient. If taking all your vitamins in the morning is more convenient than like after every meal or whatever the prescription is, like do that, right? So there's no real like it's a 99% versus 100%. You get 1% of benefit taking a pre-workout, but the biggest thing is that you're taking it every day consistently because it needs to be built up within your body.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fire away. It does not have to be creatine related, y'all. You can ask anything and everything. It could be related to your program specific, exercise selection. Why do I have this on my program? Why am I not able to eat this? Whatever it may be. You can type it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. I know we got questions. The good thing is usually after about 5 minutes, y'all start firing off and then we run out of time. Frank, yeah, I know you're thinking you usually got questions. Again, any question related at all. I know none of y'all are experts. And guess what? Everybody in this class, aside from Katie and I, probably have something that we don't know. So ask because somebody else could benefit. Steven, you got some?
I do. Um, hey, so sometimes like I'll get to like 180 grams of protein, and I've heard from people that like if you can stack calories throughout the week too. Like, is there any truth to that of like, oh man, I missed to getting to like 200 protein, like 200 grams today. Like if I like overload at 220 tomorrow, or like my caloric deficit is 1700, average throughout the week, but like one day it was 2000 calories and one day it was like 1600. Um,
Yeah.
is that okay? Is that all right? Is that like, not really helpful? I mean, not saying like to do that, try to get to 1700 for my program and 200 every day, but like if I do 180 one day and then 220 the next day on protein, and same thing with
I got your
calories.
question. I got your
Yeah.
question. All right. There's two answers to that. Number one, when people come up with these numbers of, oh, I need 180 grams, where are they getting that from? Your body does not work like, oh, I need 180 grams of protein every single day. It doesn't work like that. Okay. Your body uses what it needs and if it's available. So there might be a day where your body needs 153. There might be a day where your body needs 192. There is no possible way to know. The best position you can put yourself in is always have enough, always overshoot slightly, right? And so that's where that calculation comes from. And when we create your nutrition plan, we have that in mind. Because on your rest day, you might be doing less recovery that's required than on a crazy workout day. So that's number one. Number two is this question that you asked, and I'm glad you asked this. It's a very good question. Falls in line with one that I get sometimes in regards to like cheat meals. Like, should I eat less throughout the whole day or for 2 days and save up my calories? That is ultimately the worst thing you can do because what you're doing is you're starving yourself and then you're overfeeding. So now are you slowing your metabolism down? Or you're telling your metabolism, hey, slow down because I'm starving you. And then you overshoot it with the slow metabolism. Now your body's like, well, I only need this much and you gave me this much. So now I'm going to store everything as fat. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to digestion, when you have that influx of extra calories, okay, now your digestion that's used to this and these sorts of foods and this sort of stuff is now being overworked in a way that it's not used to. So you get double screwed. So what I would say is this: it's not perfect. Don't look at it like I need to hit 1,801 calories every single day or I'm a screw up. No, obviously there's within a range of tolerance, but at the end of the day, you want to get as close to that as possible. Does that answer your question? Because that was a great question.
Yeah, so just get to it as close as possible. Don't starve yourself and go back and forth because your metabolism likes consistency.
Your body, everything, not just your metabolism, everything loves consistency. The same time that you wake up, the same time you go to bed, the same foods you eat, the same routine throughout the day. Again, your body, it doesn't think, it just does. And so it's a machine. And the more that you can play into this machine and make it simple for it to follow and not to have to adjust. Because again, if I eat this type of food today and this type of food tomorrow, I have specific bacteria in my gut which are designed for specific foods. So if I'm getting to use this food today and another food tomorrow and another the next day, and then it's not eating today and I'm eating a lot, like you're just completely screwing yourself because your body has nothing to rely on. You know what I'm saying? And like if we look back at the history of mankind, okay, we were eating somewhat consistent because food was less available. It's not like we had Cheetos today and like grapes from a vine the next day and the zebra that we killed. No, you had what was available and you ate that until you didn't have it. And your hunger cues were where they were with the rest of the village. It's not like you had a bodybuilder eating 6 times a day in the village and then you had one person eating 1 time a day. It was all so consistent. Everyone would wake up when the sun came up and go to sleep when the sun went down. And so, as much as you can mimic a consistent schedule and consistent eating, it's going to benefit you the most. Like Eduardo shared his thing today. I told him like it's just about the consistency. All it is. The more consistent you are, it doesn't just you don't just get 1 + 1 = 2. You get 1 + 1 = 3 when it comes to consistency. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Makes a lot of sense.
Excellent question, my man. I'm loving the stash. All right, so now we got a question. During your cycle, drop weight or stay steady? This is a very, very good question. I love that you asked this. Ladies, you are not alone. So what the question is for us men here, so I can mansplain everybody because I'm such an expert. Just kidding. Women experience some increase in fatigue, some drop in strength, some drop in endurance, some wild stuff when it comes to their body. So their performance in the gym is going to be less. My recommendation is, first off, don't blame yourself for that. Do not look at it that you're regressing. It's just a natural part of life. Okay, your body's preparing for a pregnancy, realizing it's not pregnant, and then shedding it away and getting ready for the next possibility of being pregnant. It has nothing to do with your performance. It is expected. Now, it's the same thing that I would tell somebody who is prepping for a competition, who is in the last stages of their prep, where they're eating less, they're doing a ton of cardio, and they're fatigued. I don't want to tell them you're going to be weaker. It's okay, because they're going to go to the gym thinking, yeah, well, it's okay. I can do a little bit less. I'm supposed to be weaker. I'm still going to tell that person, push as hard as you can. Same thing I'll tell you, do what you can. Don't hurt yourself. Same thing I would tell a pregnant woman who's in her second trimester. If you need to take an extra break, if you need to take an extra 2 minutes of rest, go ahead and do that. So the last thing I'll say is I like to compare cycle to cycle. So if somebody has a regular cycle, I'm not going to compare their like, oh my God, this is the best week in the world versus their menstruation cycle week. Like there's not only just bodily changes there, there's mental and psychological changes there. I will compare that menstrual cycle shift to another one of the following month. Or I might just negate that from there and just help them work through the obstacles so we don't take a step back. Does that answer your question? You can either unmute or you can, okay, thank you, sir. Perfect. All right, so Frank, before you go, I'm going to answer Austin. Overhead tricep extension with a rope versus a dumbbell easy bar. So when it comes to any exercise, I'll make this very simple. It doesn't matter. What does matter is what can you control, can move the most load, and can do correctly. Okay, so let's look at a dumbbell versus an extension with a rope. Okay, so a dumbbell's a free weight and a rope is on a cable. I don't care who you are, you can probably be more stable and more controlled with the cable than you would a dumbbell. Now, you might be limited with range of motion. You might be limited because you don't even have a cable, right? There's some benefit to the instability of a dumbbell. It all comes into play. What I'm going to say when it comes down to building muscle, no other goal applied. No being functional, no doing CrossFit, no, wanting to do parkour. When it comes to building muscle, you want something that you can control, move the most amount of load, and that you can do correctly. So if somebody is doing a overhead tricep extension and they're like, oh, with the dumbbell, but the cable extension, they're beating these things out. I'm gonna be like, hey, let's stick with the rope. We might try to work towards a dumbbell, but there's no real benefit between the two that I see if we can execute the rope better. There's not many free weight exercises, personally, in my opinion, that I recommend. Unless somebody can actually do it very well. Like a barbell squat is not something I program a lot because a lot of people's bodies, they're just the way they're built, they can't handle it. And the amount of weight that they would have to do in the form that they do would only hurt them. So there's so many other things they can do for your quads, your adductors, your glutes, so on and so forth. So Austin, if that answers your question, give me a thumbs up or something like that. If not, you can ask it again. All right, Frank, what you got?
That actually was like super similar to my question. So recently, so I've been working out for a really long time, but I never really saw progress because I never dieted or anything. I was kind of just doing whatever. But when I work out, I tend to, you know, I can get the form down for a lot of stuff, and I'll try to like push, heavy. Like I'll try to put as much weight as I can within range. But recently, like this week, I've been cutting down my weight and really like focusing on like squeezing my muscle, like and holding.
Mhm.
And I've been dropping the amount of weight I've been doing, and it like I feel it more. So
Yeah.
with building muscle, are we trying to like, push as much weight as possible, or are we trying to like get that muscle sore? Because I feel like when I get that muscle sore and I can feel it sore the next day, I feel like that's when it grows, you know?
It's there's a lot of ways to skin this cat because there's a lot of things in here. Now, first thing I want to emphasize, soreness is not a correlation to a good workout. I don't know about you, bro. I'm not very flexible. If I were to do the splits right now, at least attempt it, I'm gonna fail and I'm gonna be sore as hell tomorrow. And no, I didn't build any muscle from it. So where soreness comes from is a combination of things. It could be training too hard, too much, or it could be taking a muscle to a range of motion that it's not used to and loading it. Okay. So I'm not saying being sore is bad. I'm just saying don't equate being sore to having an amazing workout. I think that's one, again, another huge myth that someone's like, oh my God, I sweat so much and I'm so sore, like I had the best workout. No, that's not necessarily the case. There's plenty of ways that can get you sore and you not have a great workout. Okay. So I just want that to be clear. If I need to explain that further, please go ahead and ask. Now,
Yeah. How would you indicate? Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been thinking like this whole time. So what would you indicate like a good what would be a good indicator of having a good workout?
so and that's a beautiful question. It is very hard to look at one single workout by like, was that good or not? The way I would say this is this. Did you push as hard as you could? If you looked at videos of yourself, did you execute the form well? Do you feel like you connected with the muscle? Do you feel like you gave it your all? If that's the case, then yes, regardless of how you feel after. Now, what is the bigger picture you need to look at is my workout program effective? And the way you do that is by looking at, hey, am I progressing? So it's really hard to tell from one workout if it was a good workout or not by based off how you feel. You can get some feedback like, is the pump good? Do you feel that connection and that squeeze? Like, again, having a pump doesn't mean that you built the most muscle, right? Again, that's another conversation we could get into. They're just feedback. Soreness, the pump, a number of things I can't remember right now. Those are just feedback. It's not a guess. This is how you had a good workout. So going to what your question originally was believe how what is the goal within the workout? So I like to give this example. I don't know how many of y'all play Jenga, especially at like a bar or something like that, but it's where you have like a bunch of little logs and you stack them and you create this tower, right? And then you and the other people are pulling them out one by one. And the one who pulls out the last log and the tower falls loses. So why do I bring that up? Same way with which you train. If you build your foundation, your body based on crappy form, ego lifting, all these sorts of things, you're building that tower on a very poor, stable foundation. You're only going to be able to build it so high before it topples over because the foundation was poor. And when I mean topple over, what does it mean? You either get injured or you eventually have this like shift where you're like, okay, I actually trained like crap. I need to fix this. And then what do you got to do? You got to take the time to relearn it. So what we do here at Precision Approach is we teach you from day one how to build that foundation, which I talk about all you guys in your consults, right? So that way we build that ground floor up, and then we're just building all the way as high as we could go. Because too many people they don't even care about the foundation. They start building and then it comes crashing down. Oh, my hormones are wrecked. Oh, I got injured. Oh, I'm not seeing progress. I plateau. We don't have that here, so long as you are following what your coaches are telling you. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I got it.
Cool,
Thanks.
cool. I think there's another one in here. Do you have thoughts on low reps, high weight sets, or always? There's a little emoji blocking this. I don't know what it says. Or always mid range and keep progressing. So the general question is, do rep ranges matter? They do and they don't. Okay. Should I do a 5-rep max weight bicep curl? Like probably not, because I'm definitely going to injure myself and it's really hard for my body to support that, right? Should I do a 30-rep bench press? Probably not, because I'm going to get more tired than anything. So if you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying is it depends, and it depends per muscle group, per exercise, and what you're capable of doing. Generally, the way that we program is if someone is starting out, we're going to go 10 to the higher rep range, the lower weight, because they can control that weight. And the goal is to get them to do the exercise correctly, build that mind muscle connection and that repetition before we move them into higher loads and lower reps. Now, I'm not saying that higher higher loads and lower reps are better necessarily. You want to move the most amount of weight, but that could be either more reps of lower weight or less reps of lighter weights. Or excuse me, it can either be less reps of higher weight or more reps of lower weight, right? It's going to equal the same thing. I'm not going to dive too deep into that because there's a little bit of differences. But again, you just need to have a reason why you're doing what. There's some people who honestly, like for me, a 20 rep set is just killer, right? But I know some people who just love it. They love to just dig. For me, once I start getting in that 15 rep range, like even sometimes a little bit past 12, like it starts getting too much, right? But then I can build towards that. I can build some more endurance. I can build a different type of muscle fiber composition. But again, that's there to answer that piece. It's not a black and white. It depends on the person. Great question so far. What else we got?
Hey, coach, adding on to that, so is muscle fatigue necessarily bad? Because I am one of those people that are like push, like especially when I'm on like a leg day, I'll like throw on my hood, I'll put on my headset, and I'll be like, man, like I'm in the zone. I'm gonna try to like kill my workout right now. So I'll like push as hard as I can. And yeah, like towards my last like two workouts, I'll get like, I'll be like pretty tired, but I'll just drop weight and still push it out. You know what I mean? So is that necessarily bad and not productive, or what would you think about that?
I think first and foremost, the most beneficial thing for you is to not look at things as good or bad. I think it's if you have a reason for it, is there a position for it? Is there what are you looking for, right? So like if I say it's bad or good, you're not going to ever do the bad, right? But the bad might work for somebody. So what I'll say in general, the goal for your workouts, everybody, and listen to this, please. You're trying to push as hard as you can for the shortest amount of time. That doesn't mean don't rest. What I'm saying is what you're trying to accomplish by weight training is reaching this signal, reaching the stimulus, reaching this point that happens within the body where it's like, I just got beat up. And if I don't change, AKA grow or whatever it may be, or get stronger, I'm going to get my ass beat next time. Anything after you reach that point is just more that you have to recover from with no more added benefit. So to answer your question, do you know that in the workout? It's really hard to say. That's where we as coaches come in. And again, I keep beating this to a dead horse. And you guys, I commend every single one of you, not just because I love having you on the team, but like for your own benefit, having a coach is just the greatest thing on earth. Okay. One that knows what they're talking about. But it is a coach's responsibility to be able to assess your progress, how much volume you're doing, how hard you're training, and how that's affecting you. Because you, Frank, and you, let's say you had a twin brother, right? Or, even 10 twin brothers. I know you got twins in your family. But what intensity and duration you do might work or might not work for somebody else. So it's not a black and white answer. What I will tell you is, again, control, load, form. Push as hard as you can with the most amount of control, with the most amount of load, and the most amount of quality. I don't remember what the word is, but push as hard as you can, just with the most amount of quality, and you'll be fine. That's what you should focus on. And
Okay,
sorry,
cool.
before you go, Frank, there's nothing wrong with cutting workout short. I can't tell you how many times like I will cut my workout by a set or two, maybe even a whole exercise, because like I'm just so fatigued. Because I know once you get to this is the perfect point. Once you start getting to that point in your workout where like I'm just doing it to do it, I'm not really counting my reps, like I'm not really in it. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with saying like my workout's too long. I would say if you had, let's say, 20 sets in your workout and you came to me and you said, Coach, I get to set 15. And like, honestly, the next 5 sets, like I'm just doing them to do it. I'm not really focused. I just don't feel it. I'd be like, okay, well, let's cut your workout to 15 and we'll cut some from here, cut some from there. Right. Because again, or I could be like, okay, we'll keep doing it and your body will eventually adapt to that amount of volume. That's again, something that the coach decides. Is that cool? Frank, maybe you walked away. What other questions we got? These are excellent. Like I said, it takes you guys 5 minutes and then y'all fire off.
Okay,
What
sorry.
are some like
Oh,
You go first. You go first.
I was just gonna ask like what are some recommendations on like those that low calorie snack with
good.
like the minimum of like 25 grams of protein. I actually found the Fairlife protein shakes are like 30 grams and they're chocolate and they're delicious and they're only 150 calories. Is that okay?
Yeah, and actually, it's funny you bring that up. The other day, I literally sat down. I was like, you know what? I get asked this so much. I'm just gonna come up with a list. And then it was just hard to come up with a list because I'm like pigeonholing. So what I'll say is this: when it comes to the snacks, it's kind of like your free meals in a way. It's a little bit of freedom and flexibility. I think the best recommendation. There's a couple of y'all, not necessarily in this chat, who do a very good job of like using their free meals and their snacks to like look up recipes and stuff like that. But I would say like generally like yogurt and granola, like sandwiches, wraps, salads. Shoot, I mean really just anything that you can fit in there. That is another opportunity where it's solely the protein amount that's being hit and the calories. Now again, because I've had this happen, it's just always funny to me, but I get it. Okay. Some people try to outsmart the precision approach system, and they'll have like a Dairy Queen milkshake and then throw a scoop of protein in it. Like, again, I'm not saying you can never in the world have that. Okay. It's not about that. It's for the time being, while we reach our goal, we try to be as precise as possible and consistent as possible so we can get to the point where you can actually have Dairy Queen or freezes, whatever they're called, with a scoop of protein, and it actually be not beneficial, but not hamper your progress. So I always give long-winded answers. So welcome to your first time with that. But I can give you my boring Ian, who hates cooking ideas, who eats the same crap every day, but that's not really going to be beneficial for you. What I would say is, and maybe this is something we'll do. We'll compile some recommendations from other clients, from the coaches, and create something. But generally, you can either ask your coach, you can ask anybody. Well, your coach is. You can ask me, Katie, or Nick what we think. But ultimately, you have free reign in that regard. Does that answer your question enough at all? Again, I know it's super vague, but I don't want to pigeonhole you.
No, it's fine. I mean, you know who I live with, so finding snacks that we can probably both eat is kind of hard right now.
I mean, you can even go as far as like, I don't know, shoot, cottage cheese and X, or like, I mean, I would always start with the protein first. Like, what is the protein gonna be? If it's a shake, no problem. If it's a protein bar, no problem. If it's chicken, no problem, right? And then from there, I kind of build out. That's generally what I would go towards. All right, so I believe Kylie, you were the other person in the boxing match for a question.
Yeah, it was me. Sorry. I've been trying to listen to as much as possible because I'm actually still working while I'm doing this, so I've gotten in and out of information, but I'll watch the recording later. Anyway, so I've been on my growth phase for I think coming up on 3 weeks now. I'm still losing weight, and I know we're probably still trying to figure out where I need to be food wise, but I could you explain to me necessarily why that still is?
Absolutely.
Because
It's a good problem to have.
I just hit another low this morning of 109,
Yeah.
which is insane.
Yeah.
But
It's a very good question, and I think everybody should hear this because that's the goal you want to get to. It's not by chance. It's legitimately what we want, Kylie. So the reason why you think figuring out is because I'm systematic. I'm not somebody who likes to make big jumps. Like, sure, you might need an extra 500 calories, but I'm not going to go from someone eating 1,000 to 1,500. It's just a 50% increase is too much. I want to. The only reason why you're able to continue to eat more and see that is because we're incrementally doing it. Your metabolism and your digestion is like, oh, I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this. But if I were to throw a freaking bowling ball at it of food, it's going to hit it all at once, and we're going to have some less than desirable effects. So it is by design that when I reverse somebody or we go through a growth phase, whatever, it is calculated just enough to keep the body responding. Best example I can give, if someone were to go through a competition, a bodybuilding competition, and they come out the other side and not reverse and just eat like a pig, their digestion and metabolism is not able to handle that. They will have increases in blood pressure through the roof, edema, their kidneys will be on fire, their liver, all these sorts of things, because they're not used to that. Even when it comes to supplementation, to steroids, to medication, you never want to bombard the body with something all at once. So to circle back to Kylie. Kylie came to us working her ass off, pretty good idea of what to do. What we needed to do nutritionally was to get some consistency, to work on her digestion, to bring down the inflammation, and to help with her metabolism and insulin sensitivity. We did that. So right now, where you're at, your body is just so freaking efficient that it's using everything. I also want to caveat with, you definitely have enough food to put on muscle. You have more than enough food and nutrients to do that. Your body is just firing on all cylinders, that it just needs more food to do everything without pulling from body fat stores. So again, I'm just different than other coaches where like, I'm sure you're like, okay, well, why don't we just get it over with so I stop losing weight? But where I'm at is like, well, what if I can get Kylie to eat 3 times as much and completely improve and not look like she's eating 3 times as much? That's my personal approach, and keep you healthier and better than overshoot or stress the body or do things that we're not completely used to. If I didn't answer your question, or if that doesn't make sense, please let me know.
No, that completely makes sense. And I had figured you were doing it incrementally because I mean any huge adjustment to the body of course is going to have its side effects, and you want to see how my body responds each week uh rather than throwing it all at once, and you want to see what you truly can handle, and if you accidentally overshoot it, like clearly I get that. But I think I was just surprised that my body was still losing weight with the amount of food I've taken in. And
Yeah.
so I was like, how is this still working? And so no, it completely makes sense. It's just I guess I'm more of just shocked at what my body's doing,
Mm-hmm.
and needed a little more feedback in that regard. Because I was hoping you weren't going to completely up it like crazy, which I've seen people do, and I appreciate that you did not do that.
Yeah.
But
I don't
my
like to get over the
appetite
top.
is freaking insane.
Yeah. And again, and I will say this, the life factors as well, the mitigation of stress and just your outlook on life. I say this all the time, and I said it in the stress class. Y'all don't understand how important your mental, your perspective mentally on your life and just fitness in general affects how your body is. That's why I say don't focus on the scale. Do not focus on the scale. If you wake up and you're not the weight you want to be, I promise you that just negative thought is not gonna make your body move. I promise you. I know it's so easy for me to say it. I get it. It's so easy for me, Ian, for you to sit there and you're in shape and be like, okay, don't worry about the scale. I get it, but I can only implore you as much as I can. Now, on the flip side of that, from Kylie's situation to somebody who's trying to lose weight, I also don't want to say, okay, well, let's just cut 30% of your calories right off the bat because you're gonna lose more fat. No, sometimes, and you'll see this, every single one of you who have a fat loss journey, you will find that, let's say we make a cut or we're in some sort of deficit. We pull some food, we increase activity, whatever it is, right? And we start losing some weight. You do not need to do the same amount the next time. Sometimes you need to do more. Sometimes you need to do less. You'll find that I always call it the sweet spot. Everybody who's consistent has a sweet spot. There's a point where you don't need to change the program. And there's actually a few of you on here who have experienced this yourself, where the program doesn't need to change anymore. You just continue doing it until the body tells you. I can't emphasize this enough. Always be reactive to your body. Listen to your body. Don't force it to do anything. Always take what the body gives you. So a lot of you who have, a decent weight trend, a decent progress in your fat loss, if it's enough to be like decent, sometimes the best thing to do is just write it out, because you continue to force it, and your body just says, hey, this is too much. I need to shut down. You've now gotten yourself to a point where you need to work your way back up. The body's not going to respond anywhere. So same thing with Kylie. I could either be patient, delay the gratification of eating all this food, for later, and incrementally do it and keep her body just gimme. Or I could be like, oh my God, she's so hungry. Like, here you go, just get fat. Like, here's all your food, right? Like, you're hungry, you can eat it, and you're losing weight, right? And then the body takes it and it's like, oh, this is too much. Okay, I'm gonna slow everything down. I was just kidding. I'm actually not really hungry. And now we've stopped. So again, another in-depth answer. Excellent question. I wanted to relate that to all of you. What else we got? These are excellent. All right. How do you decide when the fat loss is enough and switch to Excellent question. It's not a one size fits all. It's dependent on people, and it sucks to say some people can diet longer or don't need to diet longer, and some people need to diet longer, et cetera, et cetera. Now, where am I with a client, or any of us coaches with a client, where we decide to switch? It's all based off the metabolism. So when we start with a certain amount of food, I already know there's a certain amount of food where I'm like, that's too low. Like, I'm never going to go lower than that. Like, I don't care like what it takes. I'm not going to go there, because I know that if I have to get to that point to get results and push even further, the metabolism is not a place where we're going to lose weight, and it's only going to hurt ourselves and dig us into a deeper hole. So let's say I start here and that floor is here. Okay. Once I start getting towards here, if I get to that floor or close to it and I'm like, hey, yeah, there's more fat loss to do, I will start to reverse that person, bring their metabolism back online slowly. So that way we get to that high point again. They haven't put on any more body fat. We're just bringing the food that they're able to eat and their metabolism back up to where it was. So again, we started here, the floor is here, we got down to here, we're going back up here, but that doesn't mean we're gaining that fat. We're just taking the time systematically to bring the metabolism back online so we can, again, go back down here. Or I get down to here, right? And then we've got to our fat loss goal, and the same thing, I'm going to work our way back up. So it depends on what someone's ceiling is, what their floor is. So if I have a client who comes in, they're eating like 1,200 calories. I don't care if you're man, woman, or child. You come to me eating 1,200 calories, your floor is so damn low. I don't even know that your floor is 1,200. It should probably be higher. So I'm going to take that client. I'm going to have a conversation. I'm going to be like, look, your metabolism is trashed. We need to bring this back up for your sanity and for your health. And if we just, where do we can we pull from? What am I going to take you from 1,200 calories to 700 calories and then throw you on the cardio for 2 hours a day? Like, what's that going to accomplish, right? So it's not textbook. It's just person by person. And if you come with a higher ceiling, we can do more. But more than likely, somebody's coming with a lower ceiling, and it just needs to be accepted that we don't have that much room to work with. So either work with that amount of room, or we work back up to get more room and then do that. That's where it really comes down to. If that answered your question, excellent. If it did not, let me know how I can re-explain that. But that's a good one.
So kind of like going off of that question, is that kind of how y'all base like the calories per person? Because remember how I said, I felt like what I was given was like significantly too low because I had been eating like 2,500 calories with prior coaches. How do y'all come up with those numbers to make sure it's efficient for that person?
There's a couple ways to skin a cat. I'm going to tell you mine. Me, Katie, and Nick have probably some slight different variations. We obviously bounce everything on each other, so that way we make sure we're in the same place. Like no matter who we're working, we all work together. So for yours specifically, like I came up with, hey, let's do this. And at my level where I'm at, I'm not saying a client isn't special, but like I've pretty much seen it all. And I feel like I have a pretty good idea just looking at someone's body composition, their age, their activity, their current weight, what they're eating, where is a general good area. I might nail it right on the head, or I might be like 1 week or 2 week adjustment away. Even if you use a calculator, it's going to be the same. The calculator is taking the same things into account. It's just using math, right? So I would say first and foremost, 2,500 calories for you is a lot. Is a lot I think for pretty much a lot of people in here. 2,500 calories is a lot. So a drastic amount, let's say drastic, I would assume is like 1,000 calorie difference. Like 1,500 calories, I would say is not very far off from the realm of where you specifically should be. Just considering where the activity is, where the metabolism is, where the muscle mass is, so on and so forth. And that's just the fact of reality. Now, the other thing I will say, 1,500 calories from one area is not the same as 1,500 calories from another, right? 1,500 calories of eating junk and whatever is not going to be the same as eating 1,500 calories of whole foods, diverse diet, high, moderate fiber, quality protein intake, et cetera. So, somebody's going to have a lot tougher time eating 3,000 calories of whole food nutrition than they are $3,000 at McDonald's, 3,000 calories at McDonald's. And that's just the fact of the matter. And that's why I'm not such a big fan of counting our macros and tracking calories, especially for a client in the beginning, because they don't have those eating habits established to understand the difference between the quality of the food that they eat actually makes a difference in the calories that they're eating. Does that make sense? And if I need to re-explain, please, or touch on something else.
No, that definitely made sense. I actually just told Rob on Saturday how it was kind of surprising how much fuller I was getting, but I wasn't necessarily eating a lot like I used to. I used to have to, I struggled before getting all my meals in because I was just so full all the time because I was eating so much and I was so bloated all the time. So now it's a lot easier. It just didn't quite make sense. I was like, I feel like I should be starving. Why am I not starving?
Yes. And again, I always give this example, like if you have a car, let's say a Ferrari, and you put like the crappiest gas in it, the Ferrari will drive, but it's going to ruin the insides and it's not going to be as effective. But you put good quality gas in there, it's still gas. It still does the same thing, but that Ferrari can now run optimally. So again, the food choices make a difference. Like more whole food choices are going to allow for more abundant nutrients in there that your body can use. It also has to do chemically. Okay. So like sugar is a very empty calorie source. It does provide energy for the body, but it's so empty and it's so quickly digestible that it fires off your hunger signaling and your insulin, right? That if you were to take the same amount of calories from like, I don't know, like a sweet potato or something, like just or broccoli, or I'm just throwing something random, but the calories are equated, like you're gonna feel more full, obviously, on the second option, and you're gonna have less hunger cues and cravings. So yes, that's where the processed food and the junk and all that stuff comes into a factor. And again, I don't blame anybody for eating that stuff. I get it. It's freaking awesome. But your body does not know the difference. It just does what it doesn't look at like, oh, it's a Cheeto, but like I normally eat good. It's like, no, I'm getting a Cheeto right now. So I'm going to respond in that same manner. What else y'all got?
That's
Excellent.
so true. 'Cause, like a bite of a McChicken is like 90 calories versus like 90 calories of broccoli is like a lot of broccoli. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's again, without boring y'all with the chemistry of it, it's what is it actually comprised of, right? So the molecules or the particles inside that the chicken are so dense and tightly packed, right? That energy is so in there. It provides the same amount of energy, but it doesn't take as much space. And then also, again, your body has to work in a different way to process that McChicken because of all the preservatives and all of that sort of stuff. Versus the closer you can get to a single ingredient food, it's very easy for the body to just, hey, I need this. Hey, I don't need that. What
Hey,
else we
coach, you
got?
said we could ask an individual question.
Yeah, dude, ask whatever the hell you want.
So it's just like a quick little thing, but what do you think my like my peak calories is gonna end up being?
I don't always like to put a number on it because it's the same question I asked my coach, like my training coach. I'm like, hey, how much muscle can I put on in a year? And he's like, I don't want to tell you that because you're gonna expect that. Like, just train, and like if we get 1 pound, that's just what we could get, and if we got 20 pounds, this is what we could get, right? So like, what I'll tell you is this: I want to get your calories as high as possible, while growing and keeping the body fat in check. For instance, I eat 4,800 a day, and that's for me to like and maintain my body composition, maybe a little bit more. But there's plenty of people who weigh 230 who eat less, and some that eat more. So I can't say, hey, Frank, you need to eat this. I'm going to say I'm going to continue to increase the food to a point where your body can handle it. Your hunger cues are there. You're able to digest it, and we're continuing to see progress and not impacting your sleep, digestion, or inflammation or anything like that. So I don't want to give a specific number, but I would love to see you eating 10,000 calories a day. Sure.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. What else we got? We got time for one or two more. Again, excellent questions. Anything's fair. Yes.
Sorry, super random. But I know I've been talking with you and Nick about that knee issue that I've been having. As far as like doing the elliptical and the cardio, obviously keep doing it because I'm not, mama didn't raise no little bitch. But if it starts to really bug it, how can I like handle that? Because like today, it was rough walking around that gym today.
Yeah. Very good question.
Like that,
And
I had that like pimp walk going on. I didn't like it.
this is what I'll say for any injury, not just that one. Okay. Now, we as coaches, even though, no matter even how much expertise I have, I'm still limited, right, by the information I'm able to extract from a client. So you giving me that information, I would say like, hey, I don't have imaging, I don't have a diagnosis. So like, what if you have a torn labrum or a torn meniscus or a torn tendon or tendonitis or whatever it may be, like, or a broken leg? I don't want to say like, oh yeah, keep pushing, right? What I'll say is this: if something doesn't feel right, your first course of action is obviously to let us know and to stop doing what is causing that pain. More than likely, something like that is going to be a tendonitis or inflammation, which comes from overuse. So there's a couple ways to do it. We can either fix how we're doing it, we can take some time off to let it recover, or we need to take a second, like, hey, let's take this seriously and maybe take another medical intervention. So for you, if the elliptical for me in my knees, I know because you're doing all that forward pressure, that's the worst thing for the knees. For me, doing an incline treadmill with the heel striking first, that helps the knees. But like, if it's a battle of like, no matter what, everything hurts, it's just pushing through, I'd be like, okay, well, let's take a look. We don't want to make it worse. We don't want to continue to damage something to where we injure you. Like if there's not a lot of friction for you to be able to get an MRI or an ultrasound, that might be something to look at. So it's not a perfect black and white answer for you. I'm just kind of going from the space of like, I want to keep you as healthy as long as possible, and I don't want you in pain. where yes, we got a job to do, but also what is that all worth if you end up like not being able to walk when you're 40?
Okay, no, that definitely makes sense because I've just noticed that over the last couple of days, the inflammation has gotten just significantly like more and more to where my knee just feels very heavy. So I was like, well, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, and again, it depends. Like if it's inflammation around the tendon, if it's tightness on the muscle, if it's imbalances, like so. What I would say for you, okay, in our message chat, if certain exercises bother it, let me know. Let us know. Explain a little bit, like just type like it's a dull pain, it's a sharp pain, X, Y, and Z, and we'll give you some remedies for that and see if that helps or not. Because more than likely, it's some inflammation and some overuse within the tendon itself, but it's possible it could be other things, and that's why videos is so important accompanying that. So like you're talking about doing cardio, but if it's like, oh my knees hurt so much doing like a Smith machine squat, send me the video of the Smith machine squat so I can see what your form is, because yes, that damage might be there, but it also could be compounded by the execution of that movement. And if we fix that, it might be able to help us.
Got it. Thanks. I normally forget about the videos, not gonna lie, because I never had to do them. So it's something I need to always remember.
Yes, yes. So the videos, I can't stress this enough. This is the only way we know if you're doing things correctly and to give you the feedback to know if we need to progress the exercises. Because just by you saying, yeah, I'm working out and the numbers go up, like I don't know what the quality of that is. So like in a vacuum, like sure, I could be like, okay, we'll progress it. Like you think you can handle it. But like I want to be able to say with absolute certainty, because I've been training for over 20 years at this point. I still send videos to my coach every single week. So there's always an improvement that can be made. Austin, yeah, this is why I always tell people when it comes to growth. First off, your metabolism is always through the roof. You're just an ectomorph. You're somebody who's just like, it's just hard for you to put on muscle. I always say this, putting on 12 pounds of muscle in a year is freaking amazing. I don't care natural or not, using steroids or not. 12 pounds of muscle is a lot. 12 pounds of muscle in a year is 1 pound a month. 1 pound a month is a quarter of a pound a week. You can't even see that on the scale. So if you're 170 now and in 52 weeks you're 180, pretty damn good job if you're the same body composition. So I'll just put that in perspective. Stephen, this will be the last question. I think this is a really good one. Okay. And if you need further guidance, again, please message me after. But plateaued the last 2 weeks at 4 pounds of weight loss. What can I do to speed it up? There's a few ways to answer this, but the first thing I'll say is you need to take a very, what do you call it? Objective look at yourself. Am I executing everything that I'm supposed to be doing on the program? That is the first thing I always do as a coach. Like, is this client putting a 10 out of 10 on their questionnaire? And that 10 out of 10, I can see what they're doing. If it's a 9, if it's an 8, if it's a 7, it's a 6, I'm like, well, you got to bring those up. Like, it's not about being perfect, but we can't complain about, I'm not saying you're complaining. That's not the right word. We can't not like what we're getting from something if we're not putting 100% in. So if I'm putting 80% in, I'll get 80% out. Right. And so if it comes down to no, I'm literally putting 100% in this program every single day on every single aspect, the food, the nutrition, the sleep, the recovery, the stress, the steps, all of that, and it's not working, I 100% will be like, we need to take a look at this program. There's something that we need to make an adjustment for. But if it's like, hey, you know what, I'm like 80% on it. Like sometimes I eat well. I had a cheat. I didn't track it the other day. Or, you know what, I like kind of half-assed it on cardio, or like I missed a workout. I'd be like, okay, well, why don't we take a look at how much more we can be consistent on adhering to the plan before we start looking at the plan? Because I'll be honest, personally, and I'm just gonna be open kimono about this, my job as a coach, when somebody's following the plan, is so freaking easy. I literally hop on here, check in. You did so good, nothing has to change. Because I've already, and Katie has, and Nick has set up the program for you to be able to succeed in that way. It might take an adjustment or two, but once that adjustment is there, like it's just smooth sailing, so long as you're 100%. So that's the first thing I say. Now, when it comes to speeding up, you want to be careful with speeding things up, because we're looking at just, again, weight loss. 4 pounds is just a number. We don't know, okay, what if you put on muscle? What if we have some inflammation due to poor sleep or travel, right? What if we, I don't know, we have some digestion issues, or for a woman, you know, we weight ourselves on cycle, off cycle, right? There's a lot of things with weight that aren't important. I can't tell you how many clients I have after 4 weeks, because I like to wait till at least 4 weeks to show them the pictures. The scale can move or it cannot move, but you see a difference, and it's independent of what the scale says. So I would say the scale alone means nothing, and that's why I would say, like, watch that course on your onboarding. The scale alone means nothing, but the scale in conjunction with pictures, with body tape measurements, with how close fit, that means something. The scale alone, the scale is the only thing that you can look at every single day and get feedback from. Take a picture every day. I promise you can't tell the difference in your picture between a Tuesday and a Wednesday. Your clothes don't fit any different from a Tuesday or a Wednesday, but your weight can drastically change like 9 pounds just based off water. Okay. So careful with how you perceive the weight, more look at the quality and more look at the execution. And again, this isn't at all, I appreciate you putting yourself out there and asking that specific to you. This is not in any way saying that you're not doing those things. I'm just telling you as an answer to your question, when I, as a coach, have a client who is not happy with their progress, the first thing because I'm confident in my approach, maybe it's ego, maybe it's not, but I've done pretty well at this job, is okay, first let's look at the client's adherence. If they can with confidence say that they're executing everything, and maybe not 100%, maybe like 95%, even at 90% is pretty damn good, like truthfully at 90%, then it's like, okay, if they're executing that well, then we need to take a look at the program and maybe adjust some of the variables. So with that being said, again, Stephen, if you have some comments on that, please shoot me a message because I'm going to end this call. Thank you guys all for doing this. I will tell you, I did not record the actual class, so I'm literally going to hop off this and spend 30 minutes redoing the class so that way I can share it to the school. So we'll all talk soon, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you guys.